Welcome everybody to another edition of Dan's Grand Valley Railroad. Merry Christmas 2022 everybody. A couple days till Christmas here, and we've got the town of Grand Valley here has set up a little excursion train for the kiddies to run around the circuit, and we've got some really nice late 1800s passenger cars on loan from neighbor Mike, and of course we broke out the MTH lighted Christmas tree cars that I got a couple years ago, and then the KD Merry Christmas boxcar that we got last year. So running that around with my little switcher for a little excursion train. So that's about all we're doing this year. I may re-release my Christmas Eve cab ride from a couple years ago, just so you guys can see it again. But so that's pretty much it for Christmas this year. But what I wanted to do for the video this week was my top 3 things that I would change about the Grand Valley layout if I could. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So I know I have at least 2 videos in the past where I have spoken about things I would do differently with the layout. But because there's it's Christmas time and there's a new interest always at this time of year about people getting into railroading and setting up layouts and stuff. There's a lot of traffic. So I just wanted to do a list again, just kind of refresh my top 3 things that I would do differently or that I would change with the Woodland Scenics Grand Valley layout. Now, last week, about 10 days ago, we did my top 7 reasons why you should buy the Woodland Scenics Grand Valley layout. And that was received very well. Lots of people checking it out and liking it. So, of course, we're going to follow it up this time with this video of things I would change if I could. All right, well, that being said, I think most of you guys know if I could change something, my most desirable thing to change on this layout would be that right there, that cross track. Now, as you can imagine, that's a problem. If you're running more than one train, that's an issue. In fact, I even made sort of a parody video of figure 8 races, locomotive races on the Grand Valley. That was a parody. That's a joke, because if you run trains and you're not paying attention, you're going to have a crash. This one isn't such a big deal because it's just a spur. It's a little sideline that goes over to those industries, but that's the main line right there. So if you don't do something different about that, you have potential crashes. So what can you do different about that? Well, I have a couple of ideas, and one of them being that this level here is built up about 2 inches from the base of the layout. So you have room to dig. These are risers that are under here. You can actually see the side of the riser. You could actually modify that when you're building it, and don't put riser. Have that actually go under and go down a little ways so that you're underneath where it is now, about this far, and then build into your grade going in. And then inside the mountain, you have all kinds of height. You can build that as high or as low as you want. Let's go with a little bit higher, use a little bit higher risers, and when you come out over here, come out a little bit higher. So you're lower here, you're higher there, make a little over and under. You'll have to modify the track with risers, but that's all styrofoam. You can do that with hot glue and styrofoam, and just be imaginative and change that and make it an over and under. I think it would make your life very much better. Okay, my number 2 thing that I would change with the Woodland Scenics Grand Valley layout, if I could, I would make this bridge not have a curve going into it and a curve coming out of it, or vice versa. As you can see, those are curves, and that creates a problem for longer train cars and locomotives that are trying to straighten out before they go over the bridge. So if you eliminate that curve and have it be straight and then curve into your mountain, that would be much better. Same over here. Now, I know it sounds like a daunting task when you're building this layout because you're going against the plans, but I think if I knew then what I know now, I would definitely make those changes. And I know there's a couple of my viewers who have told me that they are building the Grand Valley and they are making those changes. So that's pretty cool, but that's definitely something that is changeable and doable when you're at the beginning stages. Now, I've spoken to you guys before about the radiuses of the curves on this layout, and they're 18-inch. So that means you're pretty limited to the size of the locomotives that you can run. You can run small locos like this switcher, or like GP40s, GP38-2s. Any 4-axle locomotives are going to run okay. You're going to run into some issues with 280 steam locomotives. Anything bigger than that, forget it. Smaller, some of the switcher locos and stuff will work fine, but you can't go with the big giant 6-axle locomotives. They just won't work on these curves. This is just not really anything you can change without fundamentally redesigning the whole thing, but I did want to add it in here as just a concern. If you're thinking about buying this and setting it up, you're going to be a little bit limited with your locomotives. I didn't know that when I bought it. I'm not sure if it would have affected my decision or not, but something to be aware of anyway. Okay, the number 3 thing that I would change about the Woodland Scenics Grand Valley layout, if I could, when I was building it, I would take into consideration how much real estate is taken up inside this mountain. Now, I know that having tunnels is really cool. They do have access points back there, but as I'm going to show you in a minute, just how much real estate is taken up in there, there could be so much more done with it. Now, in an attempt to use some of that room, as most of you know, if you look back on some of my videos, I have made some modules that fit in there. And you can see I have a light up there. I've got one of the access doors has paper on it that looks like sky. And if you remember from my train ride video, Christmas Eve cab ride, here's a winter scene that I have made. Now this is just styrofoam. It's just a little module that I cut to fit in there. Same with that over there. And I also have a graveyard that I made for in here for Halloween. So as you can see, it's quite cavernous in here. I can stick the camera in and give you a look around. There's that's the track going out the other tunnel over there. And there's the upper tunnel, the upper track. And it goes all the way back around that way. I decorated that so it would look good on camera. And here, let me remove this door here. And you'll see that's another access point. That's how I get the module in and out. But that being said, my point is that's a lot of real estate. Had I known about that, I would have painted everything to whatever I thought would be, you know, a really neat scene. If it was winter, or if it was, you know, anything. It could be a spring mountain, spring valley, a park, mountains, trees, a glade. Really cool for cab ride videos. Or I might have even come off this track right here with a turnout and maybe, you know, had it come out this way through a tunnel, and I could expand off to the side of the layout, kind of like I did with the front of the layout. So most of you know I expanded the front of the layout to make a little yard, but I would definitely do something more with that real estate in there. At the very least, I would have painted everything black. I ended up painting the sky blue later, which was very difficult working through this little square hole. So that would be something I would take advantage of if I was at the beginning stages. So as you can see, I have a few things that I would change, but it's definitely not as many as reasons why I would still buy the Woodland Scenics Grand Valley layout. It's a great layout. It doesn't take up that much room, and there's a lot of stuff you can do with it. I mean, if I really wanted to, a lot of those modifications I could do now. If I wanted to break into this plaster cloth and the foam and make changes, I certainly can. So that's what's nice about that type of medium. You can get into it, you can modify it, you can do whatever you want. And just a recap for some of you that might not know, I added on this little yard onto the front. So that's a thing that I did pretty early on, added a little yard so I could do a little bit of limited switching and just have a little bit more fun with the layout that way. It's absolutely expandable. I mean, you can expand either way, that way, or again, back that way. I am thinking someday I might do a 2-line main going all the way around the layout. Come on, baby. So that's definitely something that I can do later on. So anyway, that's my my 3 modifications that I would do if I had it to do over again. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, Merry Christmas 2022 to everybody watching, and thank you so much for supporting my channel. We really are getting up there with subscribers, and it's just expanding beyond my wildest imagination. So if you guys are liking my videos, I sure appreciate you telling your friends and watching, and all the ways you guys support me. So thank you so much. You guys take care. I will see you next video. Merry Christmas. God bless.